This is our 6th year, and we're having this networking party. We have this annual party from 2021 in the Bay Area. This is the 6th year, but this is the first time that I actually scheduled time to talk with everyone. Because last year was a tough year for me. I want to share a lot of things with you guys. Hopefully it is helpful for your job search and fundraising. And I realize a lot of people around me are looking for jobs, and they tend to make similar mistakes. So I also want to just summarize my learning for the past year, and hopefully it will be helpful for you. And also, this is my 6th year, and a lot of you guys are not my followers anymore, so I have to introduce myself. I'm currently a product manager at Waymo, working on a partnership. I just closed my first month working at Waymo, and previously I've been a senior product manager at Meta, working on Facebook monetization. I see my colleague here today, and we both work for Facebook monetization supply side, and me specifically working on video supply personalization. And before that, I think most of you guys know that I spent 4 years at LinkedIn. From 2021 to 2025, I joined LinkedIn out of Duke University as an associate product manager, working on user growth, ads, and LinkedIn Premium. If you guys use Who View My Profile, search appearance, profile analytics, those are my products. And specifically, I actually use my product to land myself jobs. So it's actually very helpful. Before that, I used to lead go-to-market for Tesla China. That was in 2019, before Tesla became profitable. And before that, I used to be an AI founder from 2016 to 2019. 2016 is a very special year. A lot of things happened in 2016. Waymo became an independent company in 2016. Neuralink started in 2016. Scale AI started in 2016. Does anyone know what happened in 2016? I was asking this question a few days ago for the in-person orientation at Waymo, and then a lot of people were like, wait a second, 2016 I was still in high school. I don't like that answer. 2016 is the year that CNN or RNN came out, and that was kind of like the last AI hype. That was the last time that every founder was saying that I'm an AI founder. Okay. And I was one of them. And 2016 is also the year that TikTok came out, and live streaming platform came out in China. And our team was the first team to use computer vision to identify illegal content in the videos. And if you guys haven't followed me, follow JJ Never Sleeps at X, LinkedIn, YouTube, and TikTok. Specifically, I will share a lot of things about Waymo on X. I just started to use X because there were too many Tesla people on X, and there has to be some Waymo representative to fight with the Tesla people, and I'll be one of them. And also, if you guys are interested in product strategy, so I have a free course on YouTube. Hopefully, it's helpful. Was a photo taken end of 2024. There is a conference called High PM. I don't know why they call High PM. Usually, it's not product managers speaking there, but they invited me every year to give lecture. And this was 2024, and it was the third time I've ever spoken there. And 2022 and 2023, when I spoke there, I was talking about LinkedIn strategy. I was talking about what are the AI features or AI strategy that LinkedIn deployed. 2024 was the first year that I literally discard everything related to LinkedIn and just talk about how I think about AI. And how I think about whether product managers will be replaced by AI, and if they will be replaced, how to build a product to replace product managers. And this was me after the lecture, that I was sitting back to the seat of my special guest. And for people who are not Chinese, those 3 black spots are my very complicated Chinese name. And I was sitting there just thinking, if I have so much thinking and my own thoughts about AI, and if most of my passion are not on LinkedIn related feature anymore, should I still stay at LinkedIn? And it is very funny that the photographer captured that moment. And I like this picture so much because I can see my own hesitation from my face. And I was thinking back then, I was very close to get promoted again at LinkedIn. And I'm very confident because I have a very supportive manager and supportive coworkers. And if I stay at LinkedIn for 3 more years, I could be a product director one day. That is a very clear path for me. That is a very certain trajectory for me. But if I'm looking outside or doing whatever adventure, it is not certain anymore. And I cannot guarantee that I will have success outside. So I was doing this trade-off, sitting there, thinking about my future. And that's where I started the first phase of my 2025, which is I want to build applications using AI. I want to use LLM to build applications. So I was doing research on AI startups. I was targeting early stage startups before Series C, and I did more than 1,000 cold reach out. And the way that I did cold outreach is primarily using LinkedIn, which I don't think is the best option there. I think for early stage startups, they probably value trust way more. So if you have any friends working there, that would be way better. But I was using a very stupid way, you know. So I was literally have a list of startups that I was targeting, and I started reaching out to them on LinkedIn from the CEO of that company, and I sent them LinkedIn invites. Do not send emails. Now that I quit, why you're reaching out and who you are, have a brief summary of your accomplishment whatsoever. And usually, because I'm a LinkedIn Power user, my conversion rate is pretty high. So I was targeting startups that are under 200 people, and I was adding almost every one of them. Usually, for the people who are executive, who are leaders of the company, they probably have the power to open a position for you. But for people who probably are cross-functional partners, they might not have the capability of opening a position for you, but it is very helpful for you to have a coffee chat with them and still understand what is going on for their company. So the first learning I have is, first of all, for the startups before Series A, they struggle themselves whether they have product market fit, so they're not hiring product managers. If I can save you guys some time, there's that. And usually the CEO of that company is the product manager, so they're not looking to hire a product manager. And also because they don't know, they're still figuring out, they're still at the exploration stage. So they don't really trust an external product manager to do so. So the CEO is kind of managing everything. If you're reaching out to Series B to Series C startups, you need to create your own role. So if you're seeing a Series B or C startup posting something on LinkedIn, let's say they have a job post or whatever, that means that someone already reached out to the executive and opened a role for themselves. And there is already most likely someone in the pipeline. So you pretty much just bet on the possibility of that person getting rejected, which happens from time to time. But the fastest way is to persuade the leadership to open the role for you. And the second learning I have is trust issue is real. It's very real. So I strongly suggest you guys, if you are interested in an early stage startup, reach out to your the people who are already in your network, who know what you're capable of, who know your background. And if not, in the startup world, there is also this culture of they trust more on the people who came from the same place with them. So, for example, some of the startup might be like Team Salesforce, Team Google, but some people have their own agenda. I successfully created two roles at Perplexity and Sierra back then. And for Perplexity, the chief business officer used to work on the exact same product at LinkedIn 10 years ago. And the first time I reached out to him wasn't doing job search at all. I was just talking with him about the feature that he built 10 years ago. I was like, hey man, I'm curious why that feature is not on LinkedIn anymore. And you probably find me crazy that a product manager could do research and find the product manager 10 years ago. And that's when he was like, are you interested in Perplexity? And when I reached out to Sierra, actually, one of the product leader there is like very rare at Sierra that are not Team Salesforce or Team Google. So I think he is very eager to find someone who is also not in the camp Google or camp Salesforce. So people have their own agenda, but most likely they will have trust issue. And when they have trust issue, they might give you interviews and stuff, but they will use a super big magnifier to look at you. And the third point is information spread in circles. This is a very strong feeling or learning for me in 2025. At the end of 2024, when I was interviewing for Sierra, Perplexity, of course, Meta, Google, and I was interviewing for Waymo for the first time as well. And I talked with people, and top scientists in AI labs were telling me that you should go for Waymo. And I didn't get what they meant, okay? And, it's true that I get it. Building an AI agent needs a lot of funding. Also, they probably do not have mold, right? Which is like a very shared information today. But back then, end of 2024, I don't think it is very public information. I was thinking, why shouldn't I go for these startups? And later on, I realized that it is also the time, like with the time progressing, VCs are learning as well, which is something that I will talk about later. And today, when you go on like Chinese social media like Redno or Bilibili, you can still see people from China talking about you should fund a startup in AI agent world, which is funny to look at because everybody is connected to the internet, but still there is this, like the information spread out slowly from circle to circle. And the last one is because I reach out to so many people on LinkedIn and stalk their LinkedIn profile. That's what I do usually. I realized a lot of people who joined these AI startups from the very early time, maybe joined Perplexity in 2022 or joined Sarah in 2023, a lot of them wasn't happy back then, like before they joined the startup. Because I have a lot of information from like people in the big tech company or know exactly what happened on that person's team, I realized a lot of people may get laid off during COVID, and they were trying to do their own startup and probably wasn't successful. And that's why they are the first group of people to quit their comfort zone. And I used to talk with a very successful founder as well, and he was like just a very kind coffee chat with me. And he was saying that a lot of people quit their job to do their own hack. Most likely is because they are not comfortable in their current job, right? They might not have a career path they expected, or they might not have a good relationship with their manager. And that is the trigger for them to create their own business. And I feel like at that time, that person might not be happy. And that person might feel their life or their career is very failed. But failure at the moment might be a bless. I would want to join Perplexity in 2022. I would want to join, I don't know, OpenAI in 2015. Right? You can learn a lot from those companies. You can learn so much more from a company that were put in under the spotlight and then struggle with their strategy. You can learn a lot from the experience. So this is also a time telling me that it's very hard to define a career in like successful or fail, right? Um, I think you got to have your own adventure, and one moment cannot define you. So yeah, I've interviewed like 20-ish AI startups, did thousands of code reach out, and then had 2 offers at that time. I rejected both of the offers. And because I was interviewing with Sarah, and there is a system design interview, and I love system design interviews, by the way. And at first, I didn't know how to build the AI agent a lot to know how to build a product like that. And then after the interview, the interviewer quote unquote from him is like, "This is the best system design interview I've ever had from a product manager." And that was also the moment I feel like, why can't I build Zero myself, right? Like, why should I join you then? So that is the time I started my second phase of 2025, which is founded GiveAndTake.ai. And I got interviewed from A16Z and YC China because at that time I was thinking, if you guys are building a product that I know how to build, and if I can find better people than your company, then shouldn't I get better funding than you guys, right? Which is a very false narrative. So the first thing that I learned is that VCs are human too, and they're also learning. In 2025, I don't know how many people, how many of you guys are very active in the VC world. It is a very interesting time to witness how VCs learn about AI as well. Every month, they think differently. Every month, they have some twist in their portfolio. Every month, they have different perspectives of the agent startups. So it was very hard to catch their learnings, right? Because they're reaching out to people and they're learning about this industry as well. So they're not perfect. They're also human. And the second thing is just because you have a better product or a better team doesn't mean you can't have better funding, because it also depends a lot on the timing and what is the common understanding among the VC world. Also, something that is very common in the VC world is that the small VCs follow the big VCs. So you can also see the information spread out based on how top they are in the VC world. And third one is some VCs are too polite or not good enough to give you straightforward feedback. A lot of times when you're looking for funding in the United States, the VC will be like, quit your LinkedIn job first and I will give you funding. Or your visa is not stable enough, so I don't know whether I should invest in you. Bullshit, okay? Totally bullshit. They're just not interested in your product. But some of the VCs will be very straightforward and tell you why they're not interested. And that is the feedback I really appreciate. And one of the VCs, some of you guys probably saw my article on WeChat a year ago. One of the top VCs in China successfully persuaded me not to pursue this idea, which I think his perspective is very legit. So I stopped pursuing this idea. So right now, if you're going to the URL is not working anymore. And the next one is life is short. So you got to work on the problem that you're obsessed with for your startup. This is extremely true or like validated after I joined Waymo. Waymo is a company started in 2009, I believe, and became independent in 2016. A lot of people stay there for more than 10 years, more than 14 years. If you think about most of the time, like these days we take Waymos, but for most of the time, they do not have a product running out there. You do not have the feedback loop. You do not have success to give you feedback. And in those days, you have to be extremely strong to support you to work on the same problem. And if you're not interested in the problem, that's not your time well spent. I am interested in connecting with people, and that's why I hosted this event for you guys. But is it a problem that I want to work on for the rest of my life? Probably not, right? It's a side hack. So I think you got to follow the problem that you are really interested in. And no matter it is successful or not, it is your time well spent. And the last one, for folks who are interested in founding a company one day, VCs do judge you when you stay at a company for too long. And most of the VCs ask me why I stay at LinkedIn for 4 years. So I think 2 years is already long enough for them. So just the information share with you guys. So that is a turning point for me to pursue hardware. So in the mid 2025, I was thinking that what are the problems that I'm more interested in? So I started to think about I'm interested in sustainability, and that's why my time at Tesla is way more valuable, where I was way happier than my time at LinkedIn. I'm interested in the humanoid robot doing household chores at home because I believe that is the way to free women from doing that. These are the problems that I'm interested in. And although maybe no one has figured out a good solution yet, but I would want to work on it. But guys, I was too far from physical AI. LinkedIn doesn't even have anything related to hardware. So I was thinking about then I need to find a opportunity for myself. Right? And then I want to talk about my love and hate with Waymo. And this is a story that my Waymo coworkers love so much. You guys know that I interviewed for Waymo for the first time end of 2024, and that team was Planner. So for you guys don't know that much about AV or Waymo, Planner, by the name, you can understand it is the team to make sure that the driver drives safe, right? Because Planner is after you have the prediction, after you have every information, you plan what is the route for the vehicle. So I was interviewing for that position, and the hiring manager liked me, but the position got filled. So the hiring manager was like, I like you, so keep applying, okay? If you see any position that interests you, just tell the recruiter. And I took that thing in heart. And for the whole 2025, I have 2 job alerts. One is on the Waymo career website, one is on LinkedIn job alert. So every time when Waymo open a product manager position, I have 2 emails, okay? And then I apply for every freaking product manager positions out there from Waymo. Every single time they reject me from resume. And every time the recruiters reply to my email saying, do you have robotics background? Do you have a autonomous vehicle background? And I was like, guys, come on. Last year when I was interviewing for Planner, you guys didn't ask me anything. Okay. So I guess the job market is just getting worse. And also, I guess a bunch of cruise people are trying to jump to Waymo. So now their bar is higher. And that was the moment I realized that I need some stepping stones, because I cannot get to where I want in one step. Also, a strong recommendation for you guys. This job market is bad, but you guys are too good to not play the numbers game. Because there are so many random factors when you apply jobs, and someone else might fill out the jobs before you, someone else might be faster in the pipeline, or like the hiring manager simply doesn't like you, but there's nothing wrong with you. But you guys are great. Like you guys have great experiences, so just keep trying. Like the numbers can't work in the job market. And then I joined Meta, as a lot of you guys might know, but I never stopped looking. Now I can say publicly that I never stopped looking. I was planning, I need a stepping stone, right? And LinkedIn is obviously cannot get me there. So I have to join a company that at least can give me access to doing hardware or anything related to physical AI. So my plan was to go work for Meta Ray-Ban first, or Oculus, or anything like that, right? And have some experience on my resume that is related to physical AI. But in order to do that, I have to stay in physical monetization for 1 year and then do internal transfer. So then I have this path created for myself that I have 2 stepping stones. And as long as I get to Meta Ray-Ban or something, I have 1 or 2 years of experience, then I will jump to whatever company that I'm more interested in. So that was my plan. So I think this job market is not well, especially when you are trying to jump industry, and you have to have that preparation for yourself that you might need multiple stepping stones, and it is totally fine. You will learn along the way as well. And the next advice I have for y'all is to change your strategy from defense to offense. I think there are so many, especially software companies, software big tech giants are laying off people, and I think in this stage of the industry or of time that people are tend to think more defensively. People are tend to think about, like, if Meta lay me off, then what are the alternatives I have that are very similar to Meta in business? But I think we do have this space where we do have the room, although in this job market, that we could make our strategy offensive. That is not an easy path per se, but there is a path to get there. So for example, when I was interviewing Waymo at early 2026, I was interviewing for another company as well, and another company just reached out and I caught him on Full View my profile. So that company is Neuralink, and they're looking for their first product manager. And I know nothing about brain, okay, guys? I know nothing about neuroscience, whatever. But during the whole preparation process, I learned so much. And if you guys reach out to me after this lecture and ask me about how to insert an implant in the brain, I can tell you all about it, okay? I think you got to do your lessons. You got to use their language as well. You got to make them think that you are a part of them, like you are not an outsider. When I was preparing for Waymo, the person who referred me, I was talking a lot about Waymo with her, and then she is always like, oh, wait a second, I don't even know that Waymo has this. Like, I don't even know that Waymo launched this. So although you only have access to information outside, but it's still very likely for you to know more than employees. So do your job, and you can still change your strategy from defense to offense. And lastly, the world moves fast. People, especially in the Bay Area, do not have time to understand who you are. This is like one single bias that I learned in 2025. People tend to think that people from LinkedIn, no matter what they work on jobs. That is not true. When I was interviewing for like recruiting related companies, they will be like, oh, you're from LinkedIn. Although I never work on recruiter related stuff. When I jumped out from Meta, although my whole time in Meta, which is like 5 months, was the time that I was interviewing for Waymo and waiting to come to Waymo. So I didn't spend that much time, working at Meta. But people just think that you're a generalist and you learn fast. Like, people have these labels of the companies, and they do not have the time to really understand who you are as a person. And that is just the reality of this, the imperfect of the job market. But if you guys want to make friends from this event, okay, and if you guys want to make lifelong friends, you guys have to be the outliers. There are so many more of a person that you need to understand. There's so much more about she's just a product manager at Waymo. Right? You got to understand who she is. You got to understand her personality. You got to understand her from a deeper level. And I think that is also a very undeniable skill set for a product manager or for a founder, that you need to understand people from a deeper level.